In this lesson, we are going to talk about the for loop and its syntax. So the general structure for a for loop is for, and then we have a piece of code that runs once, a small piece of code that runs once, and then we have our while condition. So while this boolean is true, this is a boolean, while this boolean is true, the loop will continue to run, just like a while loop. And then we have our code that runs every time. Alright, so there's our, here, that's a little messy. So there's our general layout, and just like the while loop, the stuff in here between the two curly braces is code that runs every time. Code run every loop. Okay, so it's good to know these general structures of what goes in each spot, but usually we use it for a specific purpose. The once code is usually used to initialize a counting variable, sometimes to 0. So this says integer I equals 0. And then the while condition is usually used to say how long you want to count for. So like I less than 10. So while I is less than 10, this loop will continue to run. And then this every time section is usually used to increment the I variable. So I equals I plus 1. So this loop would run, it would start with I equal to 0, and I is incremented every time, and it'll continue to run while I is less than 10. So it'll start with 0 and go all the way up until 9. Because when it reaches 10, when I reaches 10, this Boolean expression will be false and the loop will stop to run. It'll stop running. And then inside the code you can usually use the I variable. So if I wanted to print out the numbers 0 through 9, I would inside this code write print I, and then every time it runs it will print the value of I. So it will print 0 through 9. Let's practice this with a little project.